This is the Brainchip Quarterly Investor Podcast. Join us for answers to some of the most frequently asked questions put forward by Brainchip shareholders each quarter. This podcast is for both existing investors and potential future investors who are interested in the development of AI.
Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 11 of the Brainchip Investor Podcast series. My name is Trevor, Franz, Managing Director of Lancaster Grove Capital, and my firm assists Brainchip with their Global Investor Relations program. In each podcast, we compile a list of the most frequently asked questions by our shareholders and put them to the senior executive at Brainchip. Today, I will be talking with Brainchip CEO, Hehir. Hi, Sean, and welcome back to the Brainchip Investor Podcast.
Hi, Trevor. Look forward to the dialogue.
If we start with questions that we received from shareholders during the last quarter, the first question that I wanted to ask you relates to the commercialization of Brainchip's technology stack. Of course, any immediate price-sensitive information we're required to release to the ASX. So outside of that, I was keen just to get your insights or any feedback you might have on how things are going with customers and partners.
Thanks for the question, Trevor. I know it's top of mind for all the investors, as it is here for the management team at Brainchip. Brainchip is in the best position than it's ever been for commercialization. Last year, at the end of last year, we shared with our investors that we're expanding our strategy, not only from IP, which we continue to advance from not only generation 1 to generation 2 that's available, and we're working on generation 3 that'll be available later this year. So we went from a single IP level to 3. We also shared later last year that we're going into the chip business, and we put out the Hehir 1500, the announcement that we're taking that to tape out. And then, of course, we also shared with investors that we are creating reference designs, and that is for customers who need some guidance in creating their products. And we've taken use cases where we've gotten strong feedback from customers that, 1, the product works exceptionally well for their use case. 2, they would show interest if we created these. And 3, their customers are agreeing with that as well. And we pick cases where Hehir shines, such as in the defense organizations around radar, electronic warfare, and wearables. There'll be more to come in subsequent podcasts about our reference designs, but we're in the best position to achieve commercial success as a result of that expansion of our strategy. Now, a comment too about actual progress. I've just laid out all those offerings that the company has. We're in sales engagements across all those offerings right now, and we're moving very, very well. And I look forward to the results that we'll show this year.
Thanks, Sean. The next question, and again, we received quite a few questions on this from shareholders related to the institutional placement and shareholder purchase plan that the company recently executed with UCP Capital and Morgans as the lead underwriters. Would you be able to briefly just discuss, I guess, the rationale of the capital raising and why it was important to Brainchip to undertake the institutional placement?
Sure. It's a topic I could talk about for a long period of time, because in technology, particularly in the semiconductor space, innovation never stops. And there's a lot of innovation in the space, particularly around the edge. And it requires companies like us to continually invest in our innovation. Innovation in research and development is the heart and soul of this company from the first day it was formed and continues to be. So models, I'll give you a good example, model types that were even in existence a few years ago are now mainstream. So we've got to continue to modify and expand our offerings to support these model types. Use cases that did not even seem possible are now becoming commonplace in every single day. Anybody who went to CES this year saw the tremendous progress in Edge AI as it's starting to show up in progress. So it requires significant funding to advance all those offerings I talked about in the first question, to build a chip, to build reference designs, build out more IP. And we're very, very grateful for the continued support of our shareholders. And I assure you that every dollar that we raise is spent very judiciously with a line of sight to create revenue over the longer run. And for that, it's critical that we continue to innovate. And that's where most of this money is going to be spent.
Thanks, Sean. The next question is specifically about Brainchip's reference to partners and customers. Could you please elaborate on what exactly the company defines as firstly a partner and secondly a customer?
That's a great question because it can get a little confusing to people who are not in this industry. I'll just start with a definition of a partner first. So I'll flip the order of the question because a partner in the tech business, there's not a single company that can create value by itself for the entire value. Partnerships are critical for the end customers. Everywhere in tech, every tech company in the world has partnership programs because we work with partners, I call it to the left and the right, and above and below us. Now, if you think about what we do here, we create enabling technologies for people who either build chips, in which case we sell IP, or they're going to build products and they want to take these chips and put them in, or they actually need our help to say, I've got this project. Do you have any kind of reference designs, which we do, to help them see how this could possibly work? Then they refine their offerings and take them to market. So those are kind of the type of partners you need to make all those things happen. Because again, with this company, we create, if you think about a reference design, we create IP and chips, we create some models. But what we don't create is user software in this company or hardware boxes to put them in. So we part with the organizations to do that. So it's all those things to bring solutions to life. That's the way you should look at a partner. By the way, that's not to say that partners cannot turn into customers, but typically it's a kind of a side-by-side completing a solution kind of motion. Also, in addition, a partner could be a kind of a sell-through. And we're working right now that we've announced since our chips being available, working with companies that will take those chips, put those in products, and then sell them out to the markets. That's kind of a sell-through partnership. So those are the two types of partners we have, really, which is completing solutions and adding value for our end customers, and those that we would sell through. Now, customers typically are buying for their own consumption to then embed into their products to sell into the market. And that's the simplest way to look at the differences between the two. And we do refer to our customers as partners as well, because in this business, it really is a close partnership. If you think about it, particularly when we're working with companies developing products, we're going to stand with them shoulder to shoulder and help them work with their products to ensure that their products are successful in the market. And quite frankly, that's one of the hallmarks of Brainchip, that we will service our customers exceptionally well. So that's the difference. A little subtlety, but I can see where it's confusing, but hopefully that clarified it.
John, another question that shareholders have asked for is an update on how the developer hub is going. Are you able to please provide an update on this initiative?
Yeah, sure. The Developer Hub, Trevor, is creating a community around Akita by allowing developers access to certain things. Since last year, we've had several hundred, close to 1,000 developers have signed up. When they sign up, they get access to tutorials. They get to see some expanded model libraries that are not available to everybody until they get onto the Developer Hub. They get early access to the beta versions of our software stack as we release it, so we get feedback from them. So it's very, very important. University programs are joining with key partners and using it to develop code examples and support. And you'll see some of those announcements later this year from certain universities. So we continue to expand the Developer Hub. It's a critical part of our offering to create a developer community around Akita. Of course, when the question is, how's it going? I think it's going well. My job is never to be satisfied, and you can look for me to put a lot more energy into it this year. So off to a great start, but look forward to improving it throughout this year.
Thanks, Sean. The next question relates to the global defense spending that has become quite topical and obviously a focus for countries across the globe, including the US. Can you talk about the opportunities that defense spending creates for Brainchip, especially given recent announcements the company made in our December quarterly relating to the strategic partnership with Parsons and Blue Ridge in Visioneering?
Yeah, sure. We believe the defense organizations or the defense organizations of the world represent a tremendous opportunity for Brainchip. First of all countries around the world are increasing their defense budgets right now. And so that creates opportunity. But more importantly, the requirements in defense have changed. most of the requirements now require things around mobility, things that didn't exist that long ago. So it's clear to everybody the importance of drones. When you talk about things like drones or robots or mobile defense inside of a soldier's equipment, you need to have AI at the edge. And the use cases are, quite frankly, limitless. And we see and we hear a lot of them as we talk to various defense organizations around the world. So yes, we think this is going to be a tremendous opportunity for this company, because not only the spending is up in this industry, but the requirements are moving more towards the edge. So yes, you can expect us, and we're putting a lot of energy into developing relationships and customers in the defense industry.
Thanks, Sean. Lastly, Brainchip announced the decision to commence the tape-out process for the AKD 1500 for volume production. Could you please talk about this strategy, the potential timeline for production, and how moving to production complements Brainchip's existing portfolio of products and technology?
Yeah, this is another question I could talk about for a long time, which is why we made that decision. First of all, we were asked by several customers. When we created the 1500 as a reference chip earlier, we obviously had a certain number of samples, and when people were considering their solutions, they said, please send us some samples. And we heard feedback such as, well, we really love your product, but we don't have the budget or the wherewithal to build a chip. Can we buy them? So we got that feedback for sure. Secondly, there's another reason or why it's important. As customers are considering IP, they want pieces of silicon to test and try, and they want to see, maybe even create prototypes. So in some cases, you give them some, they test, they say, great, and let's go ahead and forth with the engagement. Others say, we're not sure about our end market yet. We'd like to have 1,000 chips or 2,000 chips to build a product, put it out into the market, see how it resonates with their customers, maybe modify their own chip design, then buy IP. So really, there was two driving factors there. Is one, to enable further IP sales with that kind of, let's say, put some prototypes out in the market and let people refine their chip designs. And the second one, which I put in the first when I said it, which is for those customers who can't and don't have the wherewithal to build chips, yet want AI in their products, you can buy a chip and integrate it in some kind of board or in a module to bring AI to their products. Now, one of the interesting things about Akita, it was designed, the Akita 1500, it was designed as a coprocessor. So the interfaces are there, the integrations of the runtime is very, very simple. We've done it with multiple processors. So it's the ideal coprocessors for somebody who wants to add a coprocessor for AI, kind of an aftermarket when they don't have the wherewithal to build a chip. Relative to the time, we believe that it'll be here later this summer, early this summer. We're already talking to customers and out selling. As you know, we have booked some orders, and we look forward to booking orders. So the actual timing of the delivery will not hold anything up. We're out there selling it right now. And we look forward to talking to all customers about this opportunity.
Thanks, Sean. It's been a pleasure talking with you today.
The pleasure is mine, Trevor. And of course, as always, I want to thank our shareholders for the continued support, and I look forward to seeing everybody in May.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to episode 11 of the Brainchip Investor Podcast with my guest, Brainchip CEO Sean Hehir. We value our shareholders' continued support and look forward to updating you on future progress. I would also like to acknowledge our shareholders' appetite for more communication. We recognize that shareholders want more frequent, clearer communication that helps contextualize our progress and strategy throughout the year, not just as reporting milestones. The company have therefore decided to start an IR briefs program to bridge that gap by providing regular structured investor education, greater insights into our markets and technology, and a clear separation between education and market-sensitive disclosure. These briefs will be made available on the Brainchip website and will be in addition to this podcast, our monthly shareholder newsletters, news on the Brainchip website, and social media pages. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Brainchip Quarterly Investor Podcast. Please remember to rate and review on your favorite podcast platform. You can always learn more at brainchip.com.